Hi everyone, and last time we've created a simple markup for our web page, as well as example file to see how the website should look at the end. And now it's time to actually start creating it. So first thing on the list is creating a link to our CSS file. And after that we can actually go here and create the main CSS. And here will be all the styles for the page. We can start by creating, or better say assigning, a class to the first section, which is introduction of this character, and we can actually call it introduction. Well, some people like call sections by numbers or by logical meaning, and I prefer logical meaning, of course, as you see, but that can be a problem when you're working with a huge project, and the numbering will be better. I'm not voting for any approach at this point because we will discuss that closer in CSS selectors course, but for now you can just go with me and use class names as I do. So in here I will create an introduction class, and as you see there is a background color behind the image and the text, and it's good that we already know how to change it. And let's assign background color, but using a hexadecimal notation, which is hashtag, and after the hashtag you can put A to F letters as well as 0 to 9 digits to create the color code. And our code is 20222E, and I know it by heart because I was designing this website, of course. After that, you can press to the code and see the sample below, or pressing Ctrl E or Command E for Mac. You can open the palette here and actually change it to any color you like with this awesome palette. So let's go to the index page now. So the page is empty and we don't see the background color of the first section because our first section has nothing inside and its height is 0. To change that, I will add an image here with avatar.png name from image folder, which is avatar of Master Yoda. Now it's obvious that the background color is changed, so our styles are plugged in, and we can continue with creating markup. And there was a Yoda name here, followed by 2 lines of text. So the first is his actual title in the JD order, and we can give it an h2 tag because this is like our subheading for this section. And the next one can be either h3 or a paragraph tag, because this is just his random quote. And as you remember, this quote is in italic. We can go here to example and see it ourselves. So let's make it italic right now, and it is italic now, as you see. The next step will be color this text, but to do that we will not use PI or H1 tags. We can just assign white color to the body tag, because body tag contains all the visible part of the website. That means that every style you will specify inside the body tag will be inherited by the inner tags, like color, for example. And since we're already using hex codes, let's do the same for the color and use 3F or 6F for the white color. The first section markup is almost ready, and the thing is, it's totally different to what we have in the design, and our job to make it as close as possible to it. So let's create a wrapping tag for the text section, and I can actually assign a class to it. So we will differentiate this section from all others, and this will be description. I can use description class inside the main CSS to add some styling to this element, but what if I want to select image tag? I can actually add some class to it, but that would be a little bit messy since this is the only one image tag inside the introduction element. And we will actually use introduction class for this purpose. So let's go here and create an introduction selector. Then if I want to select something inside this element, I will put a space and then put a children selector, which is image in our case. And as you see, the image tag inside the introduction is selected. That's simple. To select an element inside another element, you use the containing element selector, then put a space, and then the inner element selector. By default, image tag positions itself as the div tag, so it takes all the width of the page and never allows something on the same line with it. But we need to change this to fulfill our design here. To do this, I suggest you to change the display property to inline block. Div tag by default has it set to block. which actually makes him to take all the width of the page. While inline is totally different. It takes only as much width as it's necessary for it and allows every inline element to be on the same line with it. And for this layout, we need something in between. So we're using inline block value. Now we need to do the same for the description element, since it should be on the same line with the image. And let's put the display value to inline block on this element too. And as you see, they are aligned on the same line at this point. But this code is redundant because the display property repeats 2 times for close elements. I mean, they're actually closing the markup, and we don't need this to be repeated 2 times. So to remove that, we can take the description selector and put it here, followed by a comma. And now we can remove this one. And as you see, everything stays the same, because comma separates selectors, and by this you can specify same rules for different elements on the page. At the moment, these elements are on the same baseline. That means that their bottom lines are aligned on the same level. This is the default value of vertical align property for the inline block elements. But in our design, they're actually on the same level on the top. So to change that, you want to use vertical align element, and you want to specify top. And as you see, the sign is on the same level with the image right now. So the last bit will be to change the image width, and as you see, the image is resized according to its scale. That happens because browser does that with image tags by default. And if I will specify the height to 400 pixels, for example, it is stretched, as you see. Whenever that one parameter is not specified, I mean whether that's height or width, another one is calculated according to the image scale. As you see from the example here, the elements on the section is more to the center, and we can change that by assigning the text align property on the containing element. And as you see, all the elements are in the center now. This works with inline and inline block elements. Except we want our description text to be aligned to the left. So let's go here, and for the description selector, we will specify text align left. And as you see, the text is left aligned at the moment. Now it's time to work on the offsets. I will discuss this property more precise in CSS course, but just to show you how it works, we will just use it here right now. And you want to put padding equals to 50 pixels to create offset from the content border to the element border, which is equal to 50 pixels. So the final thing is to create stylings for description part, and as we see in example, it has some margin on the left, and it also has a bit different text. So let's do this and create a margin on the left side. As you see, we are not using the general rule as here for the padding. We're just using margin left, and let's give it a 250 pixels margin. Unlike padding, margin is an offset behind the element border. Padding is the offset inside the element boundaries, means before the border. So let's give it a padding left here, and as you see, brackets shows you that this is a padding and this is a margin. All the elements aligned in a good way, and it's time to give the h2 tag inside the description element a bit smaller text, as well as paragraph should be also smaller and slightly smaller than an h2 tag. And at this point we have almost everything done in a good way, except as you see here, I have a break inside the paragraph text, and here we don't have it. So we can add an element inside the paragraph tag, which is not that good and not that flexible. I advise you to restrict the width of the paragraph tag, which will be max width, which is max width property, and we can restrict it to 300 pixels, let's say, and we have the line break in here. This is it for the video, guys, and we are not following the design on 100% just because it's not necessary at this point. What I'm trying to show you is that even with this small skill set which you gained during last half hour, you can actually create your personal website or small visit card website. Of course, it's not enough to work on a real-life big project as a front-end developer, even junior front-end developer, but we are getting there. And if you want to get there faster, you definitely should see the next video.